cheer about, at least for a while, as their team opened the season at Wrigley Field against Milwaukee.
Mark, I've got to stop you. We've got to go to Zimbabwe because we have an opportunity to speak with a journalist who is in Zimbabwe by the name of Lee. We won't give more information on this journalist or the location either. Thank you for joining us. Give us a sense of what's happening in Zimbabwe some 3 days after the presidential election.
Well, Hala, it has been described, apparently, according to 3 different sources within the MDC, that is the Democratic Change Party in Zimbabwe. The president has described this as, I think it's all over. Another person described it as, this is dawn. Now, what this means is that the 3 different sources that I have spoken to have all confirmed that a deal has been made between Mugabe, that's President Robert Mugabe, 28 years in power in Zimbabwe, and the Movement for Democratic Change's President Morgan Tsvangirai, a deal brokered by South Africa. This deal states that President Mugabe will step down from power and quote, allow the Movement for Democratic Change to take power. This is all breaking news. We've just heard this in the last kind of 15 minutes, and we're trying to obviously get this confirmed. But again, 3 different sources, higher-ups within the Movement for Democratic Change, have confirmed that Morgan Tsvangirai and President Robert Mugabe will indeed be switching places. Morgan Tsvangirai will take over as president in the next coming days, and they actually, one person said that they expected the announcement to come tonight on the state-controlled television.
All right, this is very, very fascinating breaking news. 3 sources, according to our journalist who we're speaking to now in Zimbabwe, within the Movement for Democratic Change, saying that Robert Mugabe will step down, Morgan Tsvangirai will take over. How will this change the country, Lee?
I think the country is breathing a huge sigh of relief, at least a vast majority. President Mugabe still does have some supporters, but, with 100,000% inflation, with 80% unemployment, a massive AIDS pandemic, Zimbabwe is really on its knees right now and looking for change. As I said, one politician who I spoke to said, it's dawn, meaning it's a new day in Zimbabwe. And if this is all true, if this turns out to be true, I'm sure Zimbabweans across the country will be celebrating this step down.
What kind of time frame are we talking about? You mentioned several days. Is it possible that it could happen so quickly if indeed it materializes?
I'm really not sure of the time frame. The details are so sketchy right now. They haven't stipulated whether President Robert Mugabe will remain in the country, at what capacity, whether he will leave the country, whether, if he is, under investigation, whether he will be held accountable for any of those investigations. This is all just very sketchy right now. Again, and the time frame is, obviously he's been in power for 28 years, so a couple days to leave would be a stretch.
Right, that's right. And one of the things you mentioned there, and that was going to be my next question, the future of Robert Mugabe potentially if he indeed does step down. But is there the potential within Zimbabwe, Lee, for any violence, for any upheaval at this point, as Zimbabweans frustrated await the results of this election if nothing develops in the next couple of days?
Zimbabweans are incredibly peaceful people. They are incredibly patient people. They wait in long lines every day to get basic necessities of life. As far as violence goes, there is tension on the streets. Whether it would turn into another Kenya situation, I can't even speculate. I do know that they are patient, but they have been impatient. They've been wanting the results. 3 days for election results, when usually they only take 1 day, is incredible. And I should also add, Hala, something I didn't talk about before. These deals, this deal was brokered by South Africa, according to these 3 sources in the MDC. This deal was brokered by Thabo Mbeki, the president of South Africa, which, is huge, once again, with it being such an international power.
Very significant breaking news, if indeed it does materialize. Lee, a journalist in Zimbabwe whose location and last name we will not reveal right now for her own safety. Thank you so much for bringing us up to date on that. CNN barred from reporting from inside of Zimbabwe. We have a team of reporters covering it. According to our journalistic source in Zimbabwe, 3 sources within the party, the Movement for Democratic Change of the opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, have confirmed that Robert Mugabe is to step down and trade places with Morgan Tsvangirai. Mugabe has been in power 28 years, according to Lee, this journalist who we just spoke to. This is a deal that was brokered by South Africa's president, Thabo Mbeki. All right, we're of course going to keep on following this story from Zimbabwe, a very significant development if it materializes for the entire Southern African region. Stay with CNN. We'll be right back.